Hi, my name is Benni Bødker, and I am a Danish writer of books for children and grown-ups. And I've written about 150 books, 3 of which have been published in Azerbaijan. And I have received some questions from you, which I will try to answer. Normally I write here at home, where I'm surrounded by a lot of books. Sometimes I also write in an office I have downtown here in Copenhagen, Denmark, where I live. But that's really not so important. What is important is that I have a place where I can concentrate and where I have access to, well, either a computer or a pen and a notebook. I usually write my ideas with a pen and then I finish up on a computer. That would, of course, be very interesting. I must say that I have become very curious about your country since my book became published in Azerbaijan. So that is something I would like to visit someday. Well, in Denmark, as in most of Scandinavia, children's books are extremely important. They have a very high cultural value, and it is something that teachers and librarians and also the state finds of high value. It's important that there is good literature for children, and I emphasize literature. We're not talking the tradition in Denmark and in Northern Europe is not that children's literature is supposed to be moral or teach you how to live your life. It's supposed to be art. It's supposed to be literature that speaks to your aesthetic ability and your sense of art. Well, Denmark is a very small country. We have 5 million inhabitants, so it's very difficult to make a living out of writing in Denmark. I'm one of the lucky ones who make a living out of it, so I don't have any other kinds of jobs. But a lot of writers also teach, make workshops in creative writing. Some people obviously have a daytime job or a part-time job, or they make lectures and do everything that everything that is connected with literature. I have also in my previous career been translating books, and I've been giving lectures, and I've been a book reviewer and a bookseller, and worked as a book editor and all kinds of things connected with the literary world. Well, that's a difficult question because in one sense I try to not think of the readers at all. I think what you have to do when you write is that you try to follow your own vision and try to achieve what you have in your mind, and not think of an audience and think of, will this be popular, will this sell? But of course this is not always entirely possible. You always in some sense also think about that, will there be somebody on the other end, will somebody read this, and how will they perceive this? Obviously when we're talking about children's literature, I also in some sense think about the children who are going to read my books, but not too much. I think it is much more important that I try to find a connection in my own imagination to how it feels like to be a 12-year-old than think about how it is for a 12-year-old today. So I try to stay as true as possible to my imagination and my fantasy, and not think too much about how to sell and market my books and how it will affect the readers. Well, that's also a difficult question. I am a voracious reader and have always been so there's a lot of writers which I hold very dearly, and often inspiration is not something that you can see directly. But if I should point at one towering figure in modern children's literature, I would point to the English author Philip Pullman as an important source of inspiration. But there are also a lot of other writers who have inspired me throughout the years. Some you will see very clearly in my books, like H.P. Lovecraft. Others you will probably see less clearly. But inspiration is something that I draw from every day when I write. This is also why I like to be surrounded by books, because books and stories and mythology and folklore is the most important for me when it comes to setting my imagination afire. Well, as I said, Denmark puts a lot of value in literature and in children's literature also. So there are a lot of grant programs which economically support foreign publishers publishing Danish literature, and this is definitely important. But most of my books are actually translated because a foreign publisher has found the books and found them to be of hopefully commercial value in their country. And for me, it is I work on it myself, but mostly it is actually the foreign publishers who come to me and not the other way around, which is nice because obviously I prefer to spend as much time as possible right here writing my books instead of being a manager and an agent of my books. But it is one of the things that I enjoy very much, to see the books come out in different countries in the world, because to imagine that there are people who are perfect strangers who read my books amazes me to this day. Thank you for your questions. I hope to talk to you in real life someday.